I am Lewis from Rio Ferdinand Foundation. Here I have my colleague Dee and a young person named Kian. I like to talk about what can we do about the lack of opportunities in the communities of London.
I feel like it's slowly climbing back up again with, including myself experiencing this youth work session, Rio Ferdinand. I was able to experience something new, work with new people, come to learn new things, and I'm really excited to what Rio Ferdinand has to offer in the future as well.
Yeah, so I think obviously being involved in the Rio Ferdinand Foundation, it's nice to see that there is a space for young people to come to, especially like after lockdown and stuff, because during lockdown, a lot of things stopped operating. So when I was growing up, there was a lot of different art centres like Battersea Art Centre, Oval House. We've got some new spaces as well, like in my area, like Streatham Space Project and like Brixton House. But I guess it's quite difficult for like young people to access these spaces if they don't really know about them. So I think, yeah, that could lead to, I guess, some of them believing that there's a lack of opportunities if they don't have the knowledge as to what these spaces provide and where they're based. So I think the marketing side of things and like making it easy accessible for young people plays a big part in whether or not they know that these spaces exist.
100%, I do agree with you though.
Yeah.
I feel like foundations, they should reach out to community centres, for example, communities, reach out to the young people so the young people know there is
Yeah,
opportunities,
definitely.
because there definitely is opportunities for disadvantaged young peoples.
Yeah, it's just
In
about
London.
knowing how to reach them.
Yeah,
I feel like
Yeah.
the best way would be schools, really, because schools is where we spend most of our youth times.
Yeah.
And what they really teach us is I'm not gonna say it's irrelevant, but it's not really practical in like the real world out there. Like, don't get twisted, like you need maths, you need science, you need English to like be able to like communicate with others.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
for your work in the future as well. Like, don't get twisted, like maths, you can use it anywhere. Like when working in KFC, I came to realize that maths is important because it helps you develop those problem solving skills.
Yeah,
like
of
thinking
course.
outside the box.
Of course.
But going back to the topic, if the schools aren't implementing these community and organization where we help
Yeah.
young people and all they talk about is just work and grades, we're gonna like program these kids into thinking that's the only way out.
Exactly.
Into like getting the job that you want, when in reality it plays a big role, yes, but it's not the only way out.
It's so true.
So
And,
yeah,
I
like
agree.
schools is the best way to like start implementing these little
Yeah.
topics.
Yeah,
Starting from young.
definitely.
What do you think?
100%, I agree. Especially to disadvantaged young peoples, as in that will be in a pupil referral unit, for example. I feel like those type of young people in those type of schools, they're lost. They just don't know yet with how to be the best version of themselves, as they haven't had opportunities or people to empower them. So those type of schools in particular, where they have been kicked out of a mainstream school, for example, for troubled behaviour, and their ways, I feel like, yeah, that would be the best type of schools to target with.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree. I mean, to be fair, like I've worked as a youth worker and I've also worked in schools as a teaching assistant. So being on both sides of like the playing field, I've kind of seen how art can be used as like an expressive tool to encourage young people to express themselves and to voice what they're going through. It helps them to process, like world issues and understand the world around them. So I guess art, it is important that it's incorporated more into schools because it focuses on like cognitive skills, emotional skills, how to interact with others, social connection, a sense of belonging. And I guess a lot of schools would say that there isn't enough time to incorporate this into kind of, like the everyday school timetable. But I think that's why these spaces are important, because they act as almost, I guess, an outreach element of what isn't offered in schools, and a space for young people to come and have fun whilst developing like skills that will help them, like you said, like Kian, in everyday life.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, no, 100%. Yeah. I feel like just young people, they just need to be empowered by youth workers, for example, or people that are here to help the young people.
Yeah.
And just open their eyes, and there is a lot more opportunities. And for you to be the best version of yourself, I feel like you have to be the best version of yourself to start with. So yeah, I feel like people just need to get out to young people more, just for them to realise their potential, because most young people do feel a bit lost, but that's just because, like you kind of said, by the way, schools as well, the way that they might program academic subjects, and it just makes young people feel like that is the only way out, when there isn't. There's a lot of ways within being the best version of yourself. And yeah, you can make anything happen. You don't need school grades. You don't really need those things.
I mean, you do to some extent, but I think what you're trying to say is that there's alternative pathways in terms of getting into industries outside of what we're taught and conform to think, oh, these are the only industries that you can go into. And I think it is important that young people know that if they have a creative skill, like there is a way that they can turn that into something that they can actually financially benefit from and do it as a profession. Because what tends to happen a lot within culture and like, you know, backgrounds and certain homes and stuff, sometimes if their parents are not as supportive, they need to know that, okay, like there is a space where people will believe in me. There is a space where people will support me or give me the equipment that's required to make this happen, because sometimes that is kind of the issue, like financial problems or, you know, like lack of equipment. So if these resources are readily available and there's people to facilitate and guide them how to use it, there's no hindrance to stop them from doing what they want to do.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah.
I feel like it also comes to like a mixture, not of just schools, but social media.
Yeah,
it kind of like
definitely.
limits a person, like not a person, but like a youth person, into like what they really enjoy. Like, you know, social media, say like not just social media, but school. Like when it comes to sport, the two main sports are like basketball and football. Like not everyone enjoys that. Like myself, I love football. But, you know, there's always kids that might enjoy, like, you know, my school was lucky, we had a chess club.
Yeah.
So people were able to, like, express themselves in different ways, which is a key thing when it comes to, like, being young. Because it allows you to be yourself. It's what lets you be the best version of yourself, innit? If you're able to, like, express yourself in the correct ways.
Yeah, of course.
And I feel like most schools don't push that, like.
I agree, yeah.
When it comes to these sort of stuff, like, it's either basketball or football, and that's
It's very niche.
It's very,
in terms of options,
They might feel like, youth people might feel like they're neglected, and they have to like force their way into like doing these certain sports that they don't want to do. And that all comes from, of course, again, opportunities. Like if schools are offering like as well.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I agree, because for me it's interesting, like obviously being a spoken word artist, in schools we were always taught like, okay, there's poetry and English lessons, but it's like very historical poetry and like, you know, it's all about the war or Shakespeare and like nothing obviously there was nothing more to say, you know, like actually poetry can be this, or poetry can be performed, or it can exist off of a page. So we had English, we had drama, which you could say are the two core elements which make up poetry, but then there was no kind of example or freedom showing us how to merge the two together, how to bring it to life. If you want to do this as a career, you know, you don't just have to talk about these things, you can talk about things that are relevant to you. So I think what you're saying, Kian, in terms of like just showing that there's versatility across different subjects and sectors, it's important. And a lot of that, unfortunately, does live outside of the educational realm. But I would say with social media, it's interesting, because I do agree sometimes it can be a limitation, but I think as a creative you can also use it as a portal almost to create a portfolio and to build a name for yourself if you're showcasing your talents via social media and getting your art out there to a wider audience, or your skills, whether that be in football or podcasting. You know, there's certain spaces that are opening up, like content creator funds and things like that, through these social media channels, where you can find ways to profit off of your skill set. But it's hard, because you have to have, like we were talking about earlier, Kian, a certain amount of followers or a certain audience and fan base. So I do think, it is difficult. I wouldn't say it's easy to build your name. Yeah.
No, I agree. Do you have a topic you would like to talk about?
Yeah, so I guess I wanted to talk about how art can be used as a form of therapy for young people. So I believe that, you know, art is a very expressive medium, and there's so many ways that we can process. For instance, like during lockdown, so many people were depressed or anxious or felt isolated. But I feel like art is almost like a universal language, and it was a thing which kept a lot of people going during that time, because as much as we wasn't able to attend events and go to workshops like how we currently can, like there was a lot of things happening on social media, on Zoom or things like that was connecting people. And I think going back into like everyday life and back into our daily routines, a lot of spaces are opening up again. So art is making room for, I guess, less isolation and more social connection, and just helping us to function again as humans, I guess, because a lot of our like skill sets of processing emotions, of interacting, of engaging, we kind of lost a lot of that during the pandemic. So it's almost like restarting and learning how to enter these spaces again and interact with people. But like, what are your views on this topic?
I agree still. I feel like art is the best way to express yourself. It helps you get the brain thinking again. It helps you think of new ideas. It also helps you like get those negative emotions out just on a piece of paper. Like it's the easiest way to let it out. Art and music as well, both like very good ways.
I agree with the music.
Yeah,
because that's writing, something that you do, and that expresses a lot. You can express a lot with it. You can create a lot. You know what I mean? You can express your feelings. You can create a piece of poetry or whatever it is, and that can mean a lot.
Yeah, of course.
Express a lot out of writing and that bounces off the music with the poetry. Do you know what I mean? You're just talking your realness. You're talking your realness, and your realness can be valuable in all sorts of ways.
People can relate to it.
Of course.
Because words are like also like magic, innit? Like Terrell told me once, like, you know, when you're writing a word, spelling it, it's your little magic. That's what he told me, and like when he told me that, it's like, wow, it's a great way to like express myself. So like, as often as I can, I try to write like whether it's ideas or like how I'm feeling or how my day went. I always try to write it down, just so that I can understand how my day went and how I felt about my day. Yeah. So it helps me like get going.
No, it's very important.
Get going a lot, And I feel like a lot of people don't do that, because a lot of people might feel like having a diary or something like that is childish. And that all comes down to social media, so like that limits people to like being able to express themselves and stuff.
And that is a strong issue within the young generation, within young people, social media.
100%, man.
Big issue in my opinion. Reason being, like you said, people, they have opinions, they're sharing their opinions, and then young people, they seem to take it personally. They don't trust. I wouldn't even say trust. I'll say they don't really have their own. They'll feel out of place because they're taking other people's opinions into their own wisdom, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and
so
that's the issue.
Them to be a certain type of person, like limits them to being who they are, not themselves. Yeah. But then again, it all comes down to confidence. I feel like opportunities come when you're confident. Like myself, when I came to find out about the program, I was a bit shy about turning up. Yeah. But then I'm like, you know what? I have nothing to lose. I came here, now I'm sitting behind a camera and I'm getting helped to do plans that I want to do in the future. Like, and it all comes down to confidence.
Confidence building, self-esteem. And I think what you said about like feeling quite nervous to like come, but like come in and realizing, okay, like there is almost a sense of community here. I think that's what's really beautiful about, you know, these sessions and working with young people and youth work. Like, and I think art is almost the key to that, or even sports or any of the things that we offer at the foundation. Like, I think it just encourages people to know, like, I belong. Do you know what I mean? I'm a part of something bigger than just going to work or going to school, and I can belong in a space where I'm free to be myself and free to speak my mind and free to, do you know what I mean? Like really learn more and explore what interests me, what excites me, you know, what I may want to do in the future. It can help shape their prospect in a way that, like we were saying earlier, they may not have had the chance to explore that side of themselves in other spaces. So, yeah.
No, I totally agree. Yeah, like us with your Ferdinand Foundation, we work at a youth club. We are doing projects at community centres where young people can come, and we'll just give them opportunities, whether that be expressing themselves through music or expressing themselves through writing. We can even, me personally, I like to find out what young people would do, what they would like to do as a career. Write a plan with them. How will they get there? What do they need to do to get there?
I feel like that's all important, yeah. Like going back to school, schools don't really do that. They just offer you a grade and say that you go to college now.
Yeah.
Then you go to college, you go get your grade again, and they say go uni now. And they don't really show you like the key skills that you need to like excel in life.
How to apply it into the real world,
They just
like applicable and transferable skills.
Yeah, they don't really teach you that.
Yeah.
They don't teach you that. But then again, it's down to like the actual youth people, how bad they want it. If you want it bad enough, you go out there, you do your own research, or you take the risk like myself. I could have stayed at home that one night and never turn up to Rio Ferdinand. But I said, you know what? I got nothing to lose, let me take the risk. Who knows, maybe I'll enjoy it. And I'm glad I came, to be honest. Like, I got to meet some lovely people, Lewis, D, Jack.
We appreciate you, Kian.
Nah, it was a massive opportunity. And I feel like it all comes down to just, you know, I feel like people turn down these community events or these sessions for like little things like, I'd rather stay at home, watch TikTok, or I'd rather play some FIFA with my boys. Like, sometimes you gotta put those stuff aside and think about the future, like not short-term happiness, like playing one game night, having like fun that one night. You gotta think long-term as well, finding out what you really want to do in the future. Like, once I joined here, I'm not gonna say I didn't have like a clear idea, but it was a bit foggy. But now I can see clearly like what I want to do, how I want to get there, what I need, and I feel like it all comes down to what people really want to like do.
Yeah.
If they want to take the opportunity, they'll take it.
But it's true, like I feel like working with like yourself, Kian, and like the other young people we work with, like you guys have that within you already. You have that potential, you have that fire. It's just about like lighting the flame, do you know what I mean? And also it's like encouraging the young people to believe in like their power and their purpose.
Yeah.
Because you guys have it. Like a lot of you come and know what you wanna like specialize in, or what session you wanna go into. So you have some sense of where you're going. It's just about, like you said, like having that extra push to be like, yeah, you can do it.
And I feel like that's what you guys offer. Like, you guys are basically the key into like unlocking the person's confidence. Like that's how I feel. Like what I've learned so far in life, you can be whatever you want if you have that right person with you. Like for me, I would say my person was Terrell. He helped me a lot, like in the sense of I didn't know what I wanted to be. I didn't know what I wanted to do before I came, a month ago? I didn't know what I wanted to do. Like, and he spoke to me and he helped me out to decide a clear path for myself. And I feel like that's what all these communities offer. Like, you might help the right person into like, hopefully poetry. Yeah. But then like, as you grow, you tend to but you tend to like get new set of skills that you want to work on more. So like, for example, myself.
Don't limit yourself.
Yeah. I felt like I was limiting myself into like doing some things. But like once coming into the program, I realized like my skills are limitless. Like I can do what I want as long as I have the right person to like educate me into going to the right path.
Yeah.
Which you guys did, of course. Like everyone in the Rio Ferdinand Foundation played a big role into where I want to be. Like even right now, I have nothing, but I feel like I've accomplished a lot.
You have. You've come a long way, yeah.
And that's the important thing about confidence is appreciating the little wins. Like, don't get twisted. Money is important, but money isn't the only way to like feel like you're succeeding in life. Like just for me, building my confidence made me feel like so much more successful. Feel like I can network with a lot more people now, just going over to talk to them.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's what young people need to learn to do. Like, just go out there, express yourself, talk to who you need to talk to.
Exactly.
And ask for help. Like, a lot of people don't like asking for help. especially this younger generation where, because of like social media and stuff, they try to like guide you into like being independent and stuff, where like I believe we as humans, we need each other to grow and evolve into like the next stage.
Yeah, definitely.
And especially like with the help of like more experienced and older people like you guys, is very important.
Yeah, no, definitely, 100%.
No, it's not what you know, it's who you know.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
100%.
Who you know plays a big part in
life. And it's like, it seems silly because it's almost like you're going back to like skills that you learned when you was a child. But I think that's what's beautiful about art. Like it kind of unlocks that side that we lose growing up with the stresses of the world and the stresses of everyday life. We get so lost in what we're doing, like just going to work, coming home, going to work, like just routines and repetition. It's like we sometimes forget like little skills that we've learned along the way. And I feel like art really taps into that. And it's just like, okay, it shows you, like you were saying, like social skills. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just something small that you're like, oh yeah, I know how to do that. But really, sometimes you might walk into a room and like your presence may go unnoticed because you don't have that kind of, that increased social skill level, if that makes sense. So I think these spaces are important. Yeah, just going back to basics.
I feel like the important thing is finding out who you are from young. Like school tends to like plan you for the future when I feel like that's wrong.
Yeah.
You should just go with what you enjoy doing as a young person and just hopefully pushing the most out of that one set of skill to see if you really enjoy it or not.
And then you'll find...
And then find out the career path that you want to do. But I'm not against schools. I feel like what they do is...
I'm not against schools either,
great.
Yeah.
I just feel like the way they apply it and do stuff it could be better.
Yeah, definitely. And I think if there's a way, like you were saying, Kian, that we could merge like what we're doing more so into school spaces, I feel like it will have a lasting 100%. Impact on generations to come. Because like you said, it all starts with school, right? It's the first like routine that we have in our life. Do you know what I mean? So I think, yeah, it just shows people that there are other ways, there are other pathways. And sometimes it does take that external practitioner or outside facilitator to come in and show the young people that. So yeah, I think that's where I'm trying to get to, where I can exist within multiple spaces and still feel like I'm able to apply myself to help these young people be who they want to be in life.
Yeah.
I agree. Because school, all it is just academic lessons, academic subjects, which we do need, of course, but I do understand where you two are coming from. It doesn't give you the freedom to express yourself, learn. It's like they're just limiting you to certain subjects. You're not able to go out of your comfort zone much. And if you go out of your comfort zone, you will find stuff that it will make you be a better version of yourself going out of your comfort zone. Finding out different stuff that you never knew that you like, but you now like because you tried it. Yeah, I think that's a big thing. And I feel like we should definitely start targeting schools. That's the best place to empower young people. But that's all they need. They need empowerment. They just need someone to open their eyes to the bigger picture.
Yeah. But then again, I feel like that also comes down to the friends as well. Like what you were saying, they're not really able to express themselves, but like friends play a big role in like being able to like execute your true self.
Of course.
They kind of like hold you back and keep you in cage because you don't want to be like, oh man, I don't want to look like a neat to my boys, or
it's true.
I don't want to look moist to my boys. And I feel like if your friends will say that, then those are not your friends. Like
it's true. You're so
I'm
right.
lucky that my friends, I could say something and be like, bro, just give it a try. If you don't like it, don't like it. But here's my opinion, but it's down to you. Like I'm lucky to have them boys in my corner, but
and that's vital.
It plays a big role in like being able to go out there and take an opportunity that you're given. Like,
exactly.
If I had any other friends and they heard that I was going to like a community thing, they would have said, bro, like you're 18, you're not a little kid no more. Like,
but that's the thing, like these community spaces, you don't know who you're gonna meet.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? You don't know what connections and networks you could find in these spaces or where these individuals could take you, and it's good for social bonding because I guess when you go to school, all you do know is like the people that are in your class or whatever, the people around the school. But like me going to a youth club when I was like your age, Kian, it's like I met some lifelong friends that I still talk to now who are now in the creative industry and they're thriving. So I think these spaces are really good for that. So yeah, I agree. Yeah,
Big role.
Yeah, I therefore agree with you about the circle, about young people's circle. Most friends in the young generation term, they are drawer, they're drawers.
Yeah.
Most of them they can be, and that is a big thing with being the best version of yourself and getting to where you want to be in life, and more time that's by yourself. Do you know what I mean? But there is good people out there. That is a key thing. There is good people, and that is what young people need 100%.
Yeah.
Good friends, not people like you said that will draw them out by saying harsh things that will limit their mind and make them think a different way, and that therefore goes with confidence as well. And yeah, I feel like young people, they just need to, for you to be the best version of yourself, I feel like you have to be the best version of yourself. You have to think different, you have to want it. You have to want it. You have to have that need in you.
Yeah.
Because
that
fire.
Yeah, that flame.
Do you know what I mean? Because people like youth workers and etc., we can give advice and support to young people, but it's really on them if they take it or
They
not.
want to apply it, yeah. And I feel like that's where, once again, I've learned a lot as well. Like being able to apply the skills that you guys taught me. So like being able to communicate with different kinds of people. Like even myself, I played a part in your poetry, and struggling to express myself on a piece of paper made me realize I need to work on myself a lot more. Because I feel like if you can't express yourself on a piece of paper, then you can't express yourself talking like verbally to someone. And that will limit you into like being able to work with more people, gaining more knowledge. And from that night, I also tried to work on myself. I tried to read a lot as well. Like believe it or not, I tried to read a couple books. Which most kids nowadays, if you tell them, I'm gonna read a book, they'll laugh at you, be like, come on, bro, you're not a neat. But I feel like it all comes down to like what you want to be and how bad you want it.
Yeah, and there's different ways.
Go new, learn new stuff.
Exactly.
Because I was never really the brightest kid. Like I was always a coaster, average, just doing what I had to do to not get in trouble.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's another thing school like teaches you, that for you to be the best, you have to work, not the hardest, but you have to work smart and efficiently.
Yeah, of course.
To be the best. Like being average ain't gonna get you nowhere. And that's what most kids fail to realize. Like they tend to do things in such satisfactory standards where they won't push to their limits and just fall back into like being average.
Yeah.
And you won't get rewarded to being average in the world we live in today.
It's
like,
true.
That's when you get trapped in the 9 to 5s that you don't want to do technically, but it's important that you do that. But it's all down to, once again, like how bad you want it and your friends.
And just to know that there's different mediums and ways, like I was saying, if it wasn't for things like YouTube or even me, like I'm not a huge reader, and people would be like, oh, you're a poet. But it's like, okay, but there's also audible books. You can listen to poems. You can,
100%.
do you know what I mean? There's different ways to intake knowledge now because things are growing.
Yeah, we have resources, like literally have YouTube, like you said, where you can learn all the basics to anything from YouTube.
Yeah.
It's just down to like how you want to use the platform.
You want to be the best version of yourself, but when you're taking in things that will not make you the best version of yourself, your conscious mind will think different, and it's therefore a frightening thing with the young generation. I feel like that would just stop themselves, limit themselves.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And no, I totally agree. Honestly, like young people, instead of listening to that music or something, do something different. Write something, read a book,
Even drawing as well.
Sports.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I never thought of it like that. Yeah, like it plays a big role. Just doing them other things instead. Even playing sport as well.
Yeah.
I could have been training.
Mental and physical.
I loved football. I could have been training, but instead I was going home, listening to Joe. But I was doing it just to keep up with my boys, not my boys, because I don't really talk to them now, but with my boys at the school time, because when I was going into school, they were like, did you man hear M24's new tune? I'm like, no, I ain't heard it still. Like, what's so good about it? them man be rapping it, and I kind of like feeling left out. So I'm like, cool, now I gotta go home, do homework, learn it bar for bar, word for word, to like singing with these man.
Yeah.
It changed me, like subconscious, like without even knowing, subconsciously, like it changed me. Like I started getting into detention more. I was almost got excluded. It was just affecting me without even noticing, like those little stuff. And like most of these kids don't realize like how you act now is probably how you'll act in the next 10, 20 years, because like you tend to pick up on these habits.
It's so true,
without even realizing. And like once you realize you want to change, it's already too late, because like you've lived most of your life with these habits. And
and that's why we do what we do with young people, to make them realize before it is too late.
Do
you know what I mean? And that's what it's about. I totally agree with what you said. You know what I mean? Like it's social media, music, and and it's coming from poverty as well in London. I feel like young people coming from poverty in London, that's all they're hearing, they're seeing, but that's all they're seeing. They're not seeing anything else, because they're not consciously allowing themselves to see anything positive or do anything positive.
Yeah, because that's so true. Like I feel like, because when I was in school, like me and no one was up there. You know, it's a public school at the time, Brixton still is like a poverty area. Like, you know, no one really wants to live there. So we were kind of like in the same group financially. So that's how we pick up these habits, from like listening into drill and stuff, because that's all we know. That's how some of them grew up. Like we pick up on these habits because of the areas we live in and like schools we go to and stuff.
It's interesting because I feel like with the financial side of things, it is a mentality. Like my friend literally said to me the other day, like you can believe that you're broke, and then you know you'll act as if you are, or you can believe that you're gonna come out of this mindset. So it's like a poverty versus financially wealthy mindset, if that makes sense. So if you believe that you can work towards financial wealth and like come out of poverty and things like that, then you know you can incorporate little things into your daily life, whether it's affirmations, positive ways of thinking, like actual practical things that you do to help you increase your financial income, then you won't be living that poverty mindset. Whereas if you tell yourself, I'm broke, I have no opportunities, I look around me and my environment's like this and like that, you're boxing yourself into that mindset. So then you start to embody that mindset. You start to walk around with that mindset. Exactly. So I think, it's ways of attracting financial wealth to yourself. Yeah.
No, 100%. I do agree. Yeah. And that's the thing about coming from poverty. Like people, they just subconsciously, automatically just limit themselves. They might have a vision and a plan, but and I know how it is coming from poverty, making that change mentally, that transition, and even if you have a vision and a plan, it can get blurred by that trapped mindset, that limited mindset.
Yeah.
And that is a challenge within the transition.
But then you have to look around and think, okay, if I do have a limit in resources, what spaces can provide me with these resources so I can thrive? For instance, Roundhouse in Camden is an art centre, and they have like resources that they offer out to young people through their young people scheme. So it's about doing the research, finding out where these programs are, what they can provide you, how they can best support you, so that you can build a platform for yourself where you can then buy your own equipment or do your own thing. You know what I mean?
But I feel like before you do that, you need to have a good look at your circle.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to be in a toxic circle where you're trying to improve yourself by going into these stuff, then you're going back home and your boys are like, come on man, you don't need none of that stuff. You know, we have us, and like you're slowing down your growth. You're stunting your growth by staying in the same circle. So I'm lucky enough that my circle ain't like that. But I know there's people out there that will experience stuff like that. You know, they'll try to go to these stuff to better themselves, go back home, express themselves about how the experience was, enjoy it, and their friends will be like, come on man, like it's not good enough, like you don't need that, that's for little kids.
And
that's what I feel like they feel like they're grown. They think they're grown when in reality they're not. Like even myself, like I'm 18, but I still feel like I'm 12. Like I know nothing. I don't know anything, but I'm lucky that I have these community stuff, like community centers and stuff, where I can go and gain knowledge for free as well. Like it's for free, for us as well. Like just have to go in there, ask questions, and you learn what you want to learn. Like practical advice, you get practical advice, which is necessary in the world out there, where no one will give you practical advice for free. Like people will actually charge you for these stuff.
Yeah,
and we're lucky enough that we're in the UK. And we have these resources given to us for free. Like
we have good people.
Yeah. Like
it's not the I might be going a bit political here, but it's not the government that's helping the young people. It's the people that came from poverty themselves and made a change themselves that are helping the young people from poverty. You know, and yeah, man, just never limit yourself for the young people. Never limit yourself. Always think different, think out of the box, you know, plan. Spend a day to think and plan.
And execute.
And then execute, do you know what I mean? And meeting people like us for Real Ferdinand Foundation where we can help you do that as well. It might boost might boost the young people's confidence, you know, to do that.
Definitely, and even to enter into a job role like this, working with young people, they're trying to, you know, close all the youth clubs and close these spaces and close these kind of jobs where there is access to arts through youth programs. And I think it is a vital, necessary foundation and space, because even for me, you know, as an artist outside of this work, it's not easy to enter into the field of poetry, and it's quite a niche industry. But I guess when you do get into spaces like this, it shows young people that there is opportunities, you just got to know where to find them. So, yeah.
Wow, 100%. 100%. Got anything you'd like to talk about, Kian?
No, I'm good. We basically touched on all the
Yeah, I
topics,
think
really.
we touched on everything.
Yeah.
100%. But yeah, I'd just like to say one thing to the young people: just never limit yourself. Be the best version of yourself, and you will get far.